After learning to manage a classroom, I was put in charge of a small team of new teachers, then a larger team of teachers, then an even larger team now including senior teachers, until I eventually began running an entire school's academic department, and then another department, and another school, and so on. Something I learned was that no two teams are the same, and something that worked with one team or one classroom or one group was not guaranteed to work again. So, I want to talk today about quickly reading a room and attitude, and getting the most effort from the folks in that room during a presentation, training, seminar, workshop, meeting, and then beyond into daily operations and initiatives. Welcome to Teach Anyone Anything, where we do just that. I share my success with using tried and true teaching methods I learned in my background as an international educator to better manage our team and our business. In my early days of teaching, I began discovering that the traditional gold star system of "great job, Johnny, Johnny gets a star" would leave me hopelessly lost in maintaining control of certain classrooms. These kids are bad. They're unimaginable. It's not fair. This works in my other class. I would tell myself all these lies to soften the blow of my own inexperience. But ultimately, no one was coming to save me. It was up to me to create the classroom and reality I wanted. I researched and experimented and found that there are 3 key sizes for reward systems: individual, group, and collective. Person by person, groups containing a few people, and everyone at once. An individual-based reward system is like something we were just talking about. A chart with all the names of all the people in the room, and it has spaces for tally marks or gold stars, so when they display positive behaviour, you can simply add a mark. My least favourite thing about this technique is that my lowest performing students would become visibly disheartened as other students' scores went up while theirs remained low. The other students knew who the dumb kids were throughout the lesson, and made sure the dumb kids knew it too. What's more, the teaching assistant would send these charts in the classroom group chat almost as a ranking system for the kids, which disgusted me. I felt so strongly that we shouldn't be ranking people's success in something they're still learning. In fact, it's almost entirely the opposite. I felt like we should be ranking people on their willingness to fail in their pursuit of learning. Mistakes are our greatest teacher, as I'm sure you've all experienced, especially expensive mistakes. I found that in certain groups, this reward system inadvertently creates a negative feedback loop, even though I thought I was positively reinforcing good behaviour. So, I tried all sorts of variations on this method, like giving kids with the most stars a special treat at the end of the lesson. I also kept a private tally to take the public humiliation aspect out of it. But my favourite way to use this method is when teaching new content. I would keep tallies using different colours throughout the lesson. For example, blue during vocabulary, green during grammar, and red during writing, etc. I could see very clearly if a student was lacking in a certain colour, which allowed me to focus more on the students who struggled when they needed help the most. It also gave me a strong visual to create an individualised development plan for them to share with their parents after the lesson. Little Johnny struggled with our new grammar structure today, so be sure to practice XYZ at home tonight. But I made sure to set positive expectations, to not publicly reward the students who got the right answer, but the students who tried to get the right answer. This distinction was vital for my students to give their best performance without fear of failure and without judging one another for not immediately understanding the content. I learned that I could teach the room to care about what I cared about simply by rewarding behaviour. That's why it was so important for me to reward good behaviour, creativity, individuality, problem solving, critical thinking, and these other soft skills. Because being proficient at a language just isn't in the cards for some people, but they shouldn't be made to feel lesser because of it. It's also important to make sure what you care about isn't evil.
Now, Mr. Evil.
Dr. Evil,
I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
Comment below, did you have a parent or mentor that didn't really care about what you were interested in? But if you expressed any interest in what they were interested in, you suddenly got time and attention. Sometimes it's a sport, a school subject, a hobby, or even a TV show. Some groups react better to a more competitive reward system. A group-based one, which is when you break the room into groups or teams. If one person on that team succeeds, their entire team is praised and rewarded. I found this to be particularly effective when my room had a diverse level of knowledge or experience. For example, I would group together strong and weak, shy and outspoken, veteran and green. I'd then elect the weak, shy or greener person as the spokesperson in order to ensure collaboration. With such a competitive system in place, it's important to understand the personalities of the room. I once had one of my strongest students burst into tears because his team was doing so poorly and he knew all the answers but wasn't the spokesperson. So if I left this unmonitored, it could also have an ostracizing effect. If one person isn't pulling their weight, or one team is noticeably weaker than the others, I've found that they'll tolerate it for a time, but it can become quite nasty quite quickly. So sometimes I'd incorporate a little of my favourite war crime, collective punishment, or a whole class reward system. I had one class who begged and pleaded to not have homework. This particular unit happened to be about Rome, so I put a picture of a thumb on the board. Whenever someone in the room displayed desirable behaviour, like asking a question or participating, I'd tilt the thumb ever so slightly upward. Whenever someone in the room called another student a name or was found on their phone, I'd tilt the thumb ever so slightly downward. If when the class or training ends and the thumb is in the up position, great, the room will have no homework or candy or whatever they're wanting that particular day. If, however, when the class ends in the thumbs down position,
and the other one leads to certain death.
As with the other styles of reward systems, I'd need to be vigilant about one or two folks who have a habit of becoming flies in the punch bowl because they will become public enemy number one very quickly, and I've often found that this pushes them further into poor behaviour. How many times have you heard someone say about a bad kid, "Oh, he's just behaving badly for attention"? That's why I felt it was vital to maximise the attention I'd give to rewards and praising positive behaviour and minimising the attention toward negative behaviour. This was something that a lot of my teachers struggled with. I'd hear things like, "Bonnie, get off your phone, you never listen. I'm calling your parents, Bonnie, you are just awful today." So I'd have them do this quick remedy instead. Wow, check out Clyde, he's got his eyes on me waiting for the next part of the lesson. I'm definitely giving Clyde less homework tonight. Very quickly, the room transforms into exhibiting the exact same behaviour as Clyde.